In this episode of Travelogue, I explore Fuding's past. From the tea trade to the wealth of the sea, and even the power of the mountains, I quickly discover that people here share deep bonds with nature. Welcome back to Fuding. With the tea industry as massive and lucrative as China's, many families in tea-growing areas such as Fuding have gotten very rich off the back of it. To prove the point, I'm heading to one very impressive residence.
Check it out! This looks like the home of someone well off, hey? You know, actually this house used to belong to a tea merchant who made it big here. And it's so big, it's 5,000 square meters, which is almost the same size as a football field. And, well, judging by the weather today, we'll probably have the whole place to ourselves.
These are the Cuijiao residences, home to the Wu family of Bailin Town.
大叔啊，这都是茶叶吗？哦，是自己摘的？
是。
哦，您也是姓吴吗？
我姓吴，我是那媳妇。
哦，啊，您嫁过来的吗？
These days, the Wu mansion is all but empty. The family business isn't as big as it used to be, and now only a few elderly members of the clan remain to harvest the tea.
Oh, 咱们采茶季节挺长的哈，一直从
对，从8月底就可以结束了。哦，茶就结束了。
你很了解。Usually, I mean, when you come to these really old residences, it's basically just a museum. There's no one living here anymore. But this is probably, I can't say one of the few, but at least this is the first old residence I've seen where people are still living there. People from the household that originally built this entire mansion, and it's actually, you know, a part of their everyday life as opposed to just being something for visitors to look at.
讲英语。
讲英语，有可能说不定几百年前就是说着英语进来买咱们茶呢。
It's good to see that after almost 270 years, the Wu family is still going strong, keeping their grand mansion habitable and their family business alive. But the Wu family is facing a problem that's shared by countless families across China. The loss of the younger generation who've moved to the bigger cities. It's hard to say how the family business will be faring a couple of decades down the line, but with white tea's renewed popularity, maybe there's hope yet.
You know, this house has close to 200 rooms, and once upon a time, all of them used to be full with members of the Wu family. Today, it is pretty empty, but I think the difference here is that unlike many other large residences you get in China, this one is still lived in by the descendants of the Wu family, and the granny downstairs is still plucking tea, selling tea for 4 RMB per kilo. So the family business is still alive and well nearly 270 years down the line.
Coming up next, I'll find out that success comes in the form of a horse for the people of one town, and I'll talk to a veteran of the sea who's now plying his trade on land.
Just taking a bit of a breather by the roadside. You know, this entire place is like a scenic area. It's pretty typical of Fuding. You've got the sea over there, you've got tea plantations with some guys hard at work over there, and up there, got the mountains right by the coast. Don't even have to look for this kind of scenery. It's time to hit the road again.
The sea is just as important as tea for people's livelihood in Fuding. We're driving to a town called Qianqi, some 30 minutes away, to see one of Fuding's oldest and biggest temples, honouring the sea goddess Mazu. The sea goddess Mazu is hugely popular in Fujian province and Taiwan, and the whole coast of China is dotted with temples dedicated to her. Ceremonies are often held by seafarers seeking her protection. Today, Qianqi town has prepared something rather special.
Well, a bit of a surprise. Originally came here to see this temple dedicated to Mazu, but it seems like we bumped into rehearsals for the local horse lantern dance, so gonna go see how that goes.
There's a lot of preparation involved. The dance usually takes place in October and always at night, hence the lanterns. If you're wondering why they dress up as horses, well, one theory is it's because of the Chinese idiom 马到成功, which means horses bring success. Local folklore has it that there used to be a lot of fighting in the area. Every time the cavalry returned, it meant there had been a victory. And with time, the horse lanterns became synonymous with success and good luck. Nowadays, Qianqi's horse lantern dancers are invited to bring success to towns all across Zhejiang and Fujian province.
Oh, 都是自己跳。
自己乐意参加。
自己乐意参加，他们给工资？
保密。
保密。
那个老师原来就是他家的那个。
你们不止在福鼎这儿表演吧？
不止。
你们也去哪儿？
去那他们的浙江呀。
浙江。上海也去了。
上海没去。
上海
就浙江比较近。
我们是北方的。
北方你也要去，我们也去。
那这是只是咱们这儿福鼎有吗？
对，就我们这里，就我们田里这里有。
哦，有差不多多长的历史了？
哦，很长了。那很长了。
I found out later that Tianti's horse lantern dance dates back 300 years and used to be performed by kids, as some of the moves require a high degree of flexibility. Nowadays, kids are too busy with school to practice.
It's pretty interesting. I gotta say, I didn't expect that this temple would be so lively. I'm sure, yeah, it is dedicated to sea goddess Mazu, but it is also a quite lively community centre. You've got guys playing cards over there. I saw some others drinking tea and playing mahjong. And apparently when kids get off school, they'll come here to play badminton. Yeah, whatever kids do. It is still very much alive in the middle of the city. Time to clock out for the horse dancers, eh? 你们都是住这附近吧？哦。I bumped into this gentleman here and I saw him picking out wood from the scrapyard and asked him what he was doing. He told me that he buys all this scrap wood and he goes and breaks these down and makes them into model ships, and he's going to go and show me how he does it, but obviously you need to help him out with some of the carrying first.这就是您那个把刚才那些木材弄修。
这木材好的，那个木材就不能做了。
哦，还得挑木材。
挑木材，好的木材挑来做，不能做那么多，做要修细的，不能做那么多。
那您原来也就是干这行的吧？
啊，对。
您最早是。
Turns out Mr. Young is a retired shipbuilder. He was just 13 when he started building junks. Now, at the tender age of 70, he's switched to making model ships using scrap wood from decommissioned fishing boats. And he makes a pretty good living from it.
This is very impressive. So the old gentleman over there built this by himself. He designed it, built it, he put lacquer on it, and it really is a masterpiece. It's completely made out of dead wood, and it's not cheap though. He told me that he only builds for people who order specifically from him, and 10 centimeters costs $150. So I don't know, maybe I can buy a ship this small, but a ship of this size is worth, I think, around about $2,000 or more, but definitely worth its price. So I asked if there was a finished version of this boat. This one is as close to finished as you get. It's not got the mast on yet, but you can see it's already taking shape, and I think it really just looks like the junks you see in Hong Kong and Vietnam. You don't see any more of these ships here anymore. Everyone's using big steel ships, but at least with this gentleman around, they will see how fishermen used to go out to sea in one of these, and personally, I think I like this version. It's also more within my budget. Take a look.
Coming up next, it's back to Taimur Mountain we go, as I check out a landscape that inspires the imagination and a tea that inspires the soul.
On our way back up to Taimur Mountain, because today, for the first time on our trip, the sun has finally come out, the fog has lifted, and it's so nice to actually see the blue sky again. So we're going back up to see if we can see what Taimu Mountain is actually known for. Something look familiar to you? I tell you what, the weather up here in the mountains really is very temperamental, so I won't be needing that anymore.
What a difference the weather makes. On a clear day, you can actually see all the fascinating boulders Taimu Mountain is famous for. Can you guess why this one's called Couples Rock?
So when I got myself a small basket of this glutinous, I guess it's some kind of black glutinous rice with grape inside. That is a specialty of the She ethnic minority. I haven't actually had one of these before, so... Oh, that is delicious. Very much like one of those sticky cakes. Not too sweet. Oh, could definitely have more of this.
Where there are rocks, you'll often find water. Nearby the emerald-coloured dragon pool is Guoxing Temple. It's said that roughly 1,000 years ago, 360 stone pillars stood here. They were erected to welcome the emperor, who was visiting after hearing that a relative who'd prayed at the temple had given birth to a boy.
以前是有圣子放在里面，那个90多岁那个老居士，以前上来的时候也是这里本地人。
Must have been huge before. I mean, if there were 360 pillars, just imagine the whole temple taking up the entire mountain.
In ancient times, Taimu Mountain was a place of respite, where monks could retreat to meditate, and emperors could summon up the powers of heaven. For simple folk like myself, there are always the oddly shaped rocks to keep us amused.
Oh, just taking a bit of a break. Apparently, some say there's rocks behind me look a bit like the Animal Planet. You have carps, you have hippos. Apparently there's even a kid suckling on, you know what kids suckle on. I don't see anything, but at least it's a nice place to rest.
I'm sure the emperors and monks of long ago must have felt the same elation as people today do when they reach the summit of the mountain. There really is only one way to describe the view: breathtaking.
What a great panorama, hey? You know that Chinese love to immortalize mountains as people and animals. But as for me, it's just incredible to see these ancient geological formations, these granite boulders and mountains. Back in the days, there used to be so many temples around this area with monks meditating. And even today, if you go further up into the mist, you might still find some.
I've been here for 2 days, and I've come nowhere near seeing all of Taimur Mountain. It's said that some people stay at the foot of the mountain and climb up every day to explore another corner of this majestic range. To me, Taimur Mountain looks like a guardian, keeping watch over Fuding and protecting its people, come rain or shine. On the other side of Taimur Mountain is the home of white tea. Mr. Feng calls himself a tea man, and he still sticks to the old ways of making tea.
都是有机茶，
是什么茶？
有机茶，
有机茶
首先是很安全的这边。
先对了，它里头的都凉好了。
你要早上的水倒进
去。咱们这儿来往不多哈，这边。
平常主要是旅游的。今天刚刚一大班的人采茶回来，就围在这边喝的。
这个茶非常香啊。
都起码都是好茶叶。
Smells so wholesome. You know, I think that's one of the characteristics of white tea. It's quite crisp, very light, and when you drink it, you just feel warm all over. And I can't wait to get a cup of this, especially since it's free.
这个都是我们山上的特制的一些茶叶。茶叶虽然比较粗老，但是它营养还有芳香物都很多。
Yeah, so aromatic. Can't wait. 哎，好，谢谢。Let's see. It's so light. It's so light. I mean, if you were a passerby and you've been working in the fields or you've been traveling, you've been cycling, and you see this, and it's free. I mean, just come here, sit down, and immediately you'll be relaxed. This is so refreshing.
就北大山这边的茶叶就是原汁原味的，我们也没有刻意的去做它，就是那个茶叶采下来，白茶就是说很自然的晾干晒干，就是它最高的一个工艺境界。
它味道不重，
清清淡淡的，所有的茶叶里面的内容物基本上差不多，但是说唯有白茶就是说加工过程当中没有对它进行破坏， 你比如说红茶有那些老碾
对，
绿茶到老碾杀青，所有的茶类都有这些动作。所以白茶就采回来就晾在那边，给它晾晒完成。其实作为我们烧茶的人
Mr. Fang says there's a tradition here of leaving free tea for passers-by.
每一条道路上都有老人在这做这个事，这是我们一个中华民族的一个传统美德。
那您是等于把这个传统保留了，因为现在见路边的有免费茶不多哈。
应该说是不多，而且我们又在这边做茶，而且又很方便，也没有什么想我是在这边做这个事情的，很随意。
In this modern age, you don't have many people doing this kind of thing anymore. Who would think of giving free tea to passers-by? But with 1 cup of tea, you can not only earn loads more new friends, but it's also good for you. You know, people might not necessarily give back to you, but at least they will keep you in their heart.
Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but I get the impression that the reason why people like Mr. Fang are so passionate about white tea is that it's more than just a beverage to them. They believe that instilled in a cup of tea are some simple virtues of life. To be pure and warm to others with just a hint of sweetness.
Feels so much better.
With my belly warmed and my energy restored, I'm ready for the final leg of my journey. This time to the Fuding coast, in the next episode of Travelogue.